The teacher is showing this delicious food items, mouth-watering food items. Did anything happen in your mouth? Something is filling inside your mouth? Yes, you are feeling that something is getting filled inside the mouth. What is it actually? The saliva. So even the sight of that food items make your mouth water. How this is happening? Okay, welcome students. So today's class is based on this small topic, that is about regulation of digestion, which involves this control of the digestive process. So regulation of digestion happens in two ways, neural and hormonal. So you might have experienced many times when you just have a sight of your favorite food, or a smell of the food, or even just tasting that food, saliva starts to fill in your mouth. How this is happening? Have you ever thought it? So this is that we know all the sense organs are connected to the brain through nerves. So these signals will be sent to the brain, and this sight of the food from the nose, nerves are connected to the brain, from the eyes, from the tongue. So all over from the sense organs this connection is there. So in that way it helps us to know the need of that secretion of saliva. So just the sight of the food actually stimulates the secretion of saliva in your mouth. So that comes under neural control with the nervous system. And one more control system or regulation we have to learn is about the chemical control in the help of hormones. So these two, in today's topic we have to study about these two, and also along with that certain disorders which affect the digestive system. So disorders, various types of disorders are there. You might have felt in your life, all these disorders, one or the other. So maybe the reasons for these disorders may be the type of food we eat, according to our habit, according to our attitude. That is, mind is also affecting this. So mind and body are connected together. So if you have some problem with your mind, your body also will be affected. So anxiety, stress, eating junk foods which are not good for your health, all this can cause disorders. And also eating contaminated food, if you are not washing hands properly, if you are eating from outside in unhealthy conditions, that also can cause diseases by the pathogens. And food poisoning is another reason. So all this can cause disorders. That also we will be discussing in this topic. And also at last, protein, energy, malnutrition. What happens if enough food items rich in proteins and carbohydrates are not taken into the body? You know, proteins and carbohydrates are rich source of energy and even fats. So if these three things, nutrients, are not taken in a proper way, what can happen? That also we will be discussing. Okay, so first we start with the regulation of digestion.
We begin with regulation of digestion. So you saw how the sight of the food stimulated the production of saliva in your mouth. So all the activities of the gastrointestinal tract are under the control or under neural and hormonal control for proper coordination of different parts. So for coordinating all the digestive activities, the nervous system and the hormonal system plays a vital role. So you have studied about control and coordination and all with the help of nervous system and the hormones. So here also the nervous system and a few hormones are there which are controlling the secretions of gastric and the intestinal glands. The activities of gastrointestinal tract is under both neural and hormonal control. Neural control
So the digestive tract is supplied by nerves from the nervous system.
By sight, smell
and this
and taste or taste
nerves
of the food.
will
So
control
merely
the
seeing the food
intestinal
or
and
getting the
also
smell
the
of the
stomach
food or
secretions.
tasting
That
the
comes
food,
under the neural
now
control
mouth
or
saliva
nervous
starts secretion.
control. So neural control,
Salivary gland starts
there the secretion of
secreting
saliva is stimulated by sight,
and that is with the
smell,
help of the nerves
and
which
or
are connected to
taste
the
of the
central
food.
nervous system. So this
So,
nerves carry this
The
senses
digestive
to
tract, they are
brain.
supplied with
In turn,
nerves from the
yes,
nervous system,
messages
and the
for
sight and smell of
secretion
the
of
food
the
send the signals to brain, which stimulate the secretions
Okay,
from
so that is
salivary
with the
and
neural control.
gastric glands.
So the neural system stimulates the secretion of gastric and intestinal juices along with the hormonal system. So neural system stimulates the secretion of saliva and also gastric and intestinal secretions. And it also controls the muscular activities of alimentary canal. So we have studied about the muscularis layer, which has a circular and longitudinal muscles and which undergo contraction and relaxation to pass the food through the alimentary canal, and that movement of that muscles we call it peristalsis. And due to peristaltic movement, the food is pushed from one part of the digestive canal to the next, and this is also regulated by the neural system along with hormonal control. So it involves the hormones. So these hormones are secreted by different parts of the alimentary canal which control the secretion of digestive juices. So mainly they are secreted from the stomach and duodenum of the small intestine. So you have already studied about in your lower class about hormones. So hormones are secreted by mainly endocrine glands. So in this digestive system also there are some glands which can produce hormones, and these hormones bring about regulation. So they stimulate the secretion of gastric and the intestinal juices along with the neural system or the nervous system. So we learned the names of few hormones and their functions. So gastrin is an hormone secreted by the stomach, and it acts on gastric glands and stimulates secretion of HCl and pepsinogen. HCl, hydrochloric acid, actually converts pepsinogen, an inactive form of protein digesting enzyme, into pepsin. Another hormone is secretin. Secreted from the duodenum of small intestine, and it acts on exocrine part of pancreas, and it stimulates the secretion of water and bicarbonates. You know, exocrine part of pancreas is having a role in digestion by secreting the digesting juices and also water and bicarbonates. This water and bicarbonates actually make the medium alkaline in the small intestine. Next is cholecystokinin, another hormone secreted from duodenum. It acts on both pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice. You know, pancreatic enzymes helps in the digestion of almost all the nutrients, and bile juice helps in the emulsification of fat. Then another one is gastric inhibitory peptides. So gastric inhibitory peptides are the hormones. They are also released from the duodenum part of the small intestine, and they inhibit gastric secretion and motility. That is, secretion of gastric juices are inhibited or stopped, and they also stop the motility of the alimentary canal, that is the stomach. So there will not be churning and mixing of the food. Next topic is nutritional and digestive disorders. So a lot of nutritional and digestive disorders occur in our body. This nutritional may be due to lack of certain nutrients in our body, because of we are taking food which is insufficient in such nutrients. And digestive disorders are disorders which are associated with the digestive system, and these disorders occur due to various reasons. Maybe due to inflammation or infection inside the stomach or the intestine due to pathogens, or due to certain parasitic worms present inside the body, or due to anxiety, stress, or food poisoning or contaminated food materials which we are taking, and our lifestyle and habits. All this can result in various kinds of digestive disorders. So, inflammation of intestinal tract. This inflammation or infections can be caused by infections by bacteria or viruses, and also parasites of the intestine like tapeworm, pinworm, roundworm, hookworm, etc. So these parasites, they cling onto the intestinal wall and they will derive the nutrients from our body, and slowly our body will be deficient in nutrients and body becomes weak, and they completely depend upon the host for their survival. So these kind of worms, they enter our body through contaminated food or uncooked food materials, or through soil, or by any waste with contact with this, even the eggs of these parasites. Next disorder is vomiting. It is a ejection of the contents of the stomach through the mouth. So this is a reflex action controlled by the vomit center in the medulla. So this is the due to reverse flow, that is peristalsis of this muscles of the alimentary canal, and the food is pushed back into the mouth. And there are various reasons for this vomiting. Due to many reasons this vomiting can happen, and it is a reflex action. You have studied about the reflex action, immediate action, which takes place at the level of mainly spinal cord, and it is controlled by the vomit center in the medulla. And vomiting can happen due to the following reasons, which can be the following. So vomiting, it is preceded by nausea. So first the feeling of nausea comes, and then only the vomiting takes place. And it can be due to various reasons. As we discussed, it may be due to irritating food or odor. Odor means smell. It may be due to good smell or bad smell. Many different types of smell is there which may be irritating for some people. So strong smell of certain perfumes, or certain bad smell coming from decomposition of waste, or any other ways which can be irritating. Then overeating, when you are eating too much. Then motion sickness, when you are traveling, you always get that feeling of vomiting. Many are having that feeling when you are traveling for long distance. And eating too much also can result in a condition called vomiting. Next disorder is diarrhea. Diarrhea is nothing but the abnormal frequency of bowel movement and increased liquidity of fecal discharge. So frequently the person discharges the fecal matter, and the fecal matter is in a liquid state. And when such a condition happens, that is the fecal matter is continuously discharged in a liquid manner, it reduces the absorption of the nutrients from the food. And as a result of this, the person can have symptoms like abdominal cramps and pains. And frequently the liquid matter from the body is discharged, and it can lead to dehydration, loss of water and other useful salts from the body, which can make the person weak. And in extreme cases, person death also can happen. Diarrhea is caused by bacteria, maybe due to bacterial infections, virus or protozoa, or due to food poisoning. And it is highly infectious and it can lead to dehydration, loss of water from the body. So when we are having contaminated food or water, if such a food or water containing bacteria or virus or protozoa enters the body, in such cases the infections take place and the condition of diarrhea occurs. So in such cases, the first aid given in such cases is ORS. You might have heard about this, oral rehydration solution. So immediately it is given to the person to make up the loss of water and essential salts from the body, either salt or sugar solution.
Next disorder is constipation. Here, this is a condition where the feces are retained within the rectum as the bowel movements occur irregularly. So here the person has difficulty in discharging the feces as the feces becomes hardened, and the removal of feces becomes irregular, and it may cause various kinds of discomforts in the person such as headache, depression. Other discomfort may happen due to this non-removal of the feces, and it may sometimes result in the damage to the rectum as the person tries to remove the feces with forceful. So this is also another type of disorder, maybe due to the inadequate intake of roughage. So constipation can happen when the intake of roughage and water is less. So the situation can be overcome by taking large amount of roughage and water, and also enough fruits and vegetables which contain this fibers. And it may cause injury to a digestive tract and produce several complications if this condition continues. So daily, including lot of roughage and drinking enough water, almost 7 to 8 glasses daily, can keep away the problem of constipation. And it can have other side effects also if it is continuing, and it can affect the other organs also, and as a total the health will be affected. So it is also another important disorder. Another disorder is indigestion. Indigestion is food not being properly digested, which leads to a feeling of fullness, nausea, acidity, etc. So when the food is not digested properly, this can happen, and a lot of reasons are behind this. So if you are eating too much of food or eating too much of spicy food, sometimes it will affect the process of digestion. Then if you have certain problems with your mind, if you are stressed condition, anxiety, such situations, your digestive system is also affected. So you might have heard sound mind in a sound body. Then other reasons may be spicy foods and junk foods, or eating too much, which is a heavy load for the digestive system. So reasons for indigestion, inadequate enzyme action, inadequate enzyme secretion also can be a reason for digestive indigestion. So when the enzymes, the function of enzymes, they break down the complex food into simpler ones. So if they are not produced in the adequate quantity, or inside the stomach, that can affect digestion. Digestion will not take place in a proper way. Stress. So maybe due to the food poisoning. In some cases, the pancreas may be affected due to cancer or some other problems, which also can inhibit anxiety, stress, overeating, food poisoning, we are eating overeating, spicy food. All these are the reasons for indigestion. Food poisoning is also can affect the process of digestion, enzyme secretion. If any of the digestive glands or organs are affected, so in that way the food can affect the enzyme secretion, and in turn digestion will not take place. Another very important disorder is jaundice. It is the infection and inflammation of the liver, and as a result, the liver produces bile,
which helps in the emulsification of fat. Bile contains bile pigments, bilirubin and biliverdin. And this bilirubin and biliverdin are actually the end products of the breakdown of RBCs. And through the bile, actually this broken down RBCs are excreted through the feces. And along with that, the emulsification of fat also take place. So the bile pigments in the case of jaundice may be present in the blood and causes yellowing of eyes and skin. So when they may be deposited in the blood in excess quantities, they may be produced due to inflammation of the liver. They will be deposited in the blood, in the eyes and the skin. Causes or the causes of the jaundice, the conditions affecting the RBCs, condition affecting the liver cells, bile ducts or common bile ducts, viruses, bacteria, consumption of alcohol, cancerous growth, liver cirrhosis, all these can result in jaundice. So this condition may be due to affecting the RBC, that is RBCs when they are degraded in large quantities. So they will be going on producing bilirubin, which will be accumulated in the blood. And conditions affecting the liver cells, bile ducts or common bile ducts, in which they can't pour the secretions properly. Then viruses or bacteria, hepatitis infections are there in that case, or due to alcohol consumption, maybe the liver cirrhosis happens or cancerous growth. All this can affect the